Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we talk about problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with a video.
I'm a 26-year-old black Muslim woman, married to a man, 28, of Italian-American ancestry. His dad is an American and his mother is Italian. My mother-in-law is a high-key Catholic woman from the 50s, so you understand how deep-rooted the racism and the Islamophobia is within her. My father-in-law passed away during the Vietnam War, and my mother-in-law has always been protective of him, eventually raising him to be a mama's boy. It's bothered me on certain occasions, but he makes sure to keep his mom's antics under control and take a stand in a non-provoking way to protect me from her claws. Look, I know you all would be thinking about how he should have cut her off, but give it a thought. Losing your husband at the age of 24 and then staying a widow for the love of him while raising your 3-year-old daughters and one son isn't easy. And if she loses the only man in her life, that is my husband, and her son, you can't even see how devastated that woman would be. And she is 92, so basically she needs to be around her children for her own fulfillment and happiness. As you can see from the title, to honor her life, my husband threw a huge 92nd birthday party to celebrate her life and the legacy that she has created till now. She was the happiest when she knew about this birthday party, and more happier about how everyone of her family would be present there. She never really accepted me as her daughter-in-law because of my religion and race. It stings a lot, but I ain't worried about what this old lady got to say. I got my husband and I'm all good. So we plan everything and decide to call some of our mutual family friends and everyone we thought would be suitable for attending this party. It was all nice and good going till someone mentioned inviting my people over. She straight out denied and made it clear that she wouldn't be around anyone like that. Even though I was mad, for the sake of my husband, I didn't really argue because if I get her worked up, she might pass away from a heart attack. So we decided to call our family over to a more intimate dinner. And it would be much better than a much crowdier party anyway. Look, the thing is, all her children have good financial background, and they are really devoted to their mother. They didn't pick up her values, but did have the same conviction as her, so that woman may be rude to me and my community, but as a woman I truly respect her. So we all collectively decided to throw a grand Italian theme party. It all sounds fancy, but we wanted it that way, so it's okay leaving that impression. So we prepare for everything, the clothes, decoration, make sure to have her favorite food, and as she's a chain smoker, we even arranged high-quality cigarettes for her too. Most of these small ideas were by me, and I too made sure to contribute as much as I can for her sake. The day for her birthday arrives. We're all dressed up and arrive at the venue where we schedule it to be. Everything starts and we are all engaging with the guests and welcoming them. We all had our own audience to take care of. So, no one really stood near my mother-in-law while she was meeting with the guest. First, odd behavior was, whenever she went to a beautiful white woman, she would pass a comment on how that girl would make a perfect bride for her son. That would be awkward because everyone knew that her son was married. Not just once, but many times, she would try to make her son engage with all the girls who showed any sign of being Catholic and white. It really irked me a lot, of course, in every wrong way, but I completely ignored the stupidity that she was showing off in front of our guests. Most of the people present knew me as being the daughter-in-law of that woman, so we had to make up excuses like she has Alzheimer's and has a lot of memory issues and can only recall stuff that are ancient. I know it sounds harsh, but I don't really want a chick coming over telling me that my husband belongs to her and wrecking my home. The place she crossed the line was she straight out refused to recognize me in front of the whole crowd, and when I asked her to act normal, she started to throw out racial slurs and made so many anti-Islam comments such as me being a terrorist and eating snakes, and being one who has trapped her son in her trap through witchcraft and black magic. At this point, I couldn't take it anymore. It was a very loud drama she created in front of everyone, and in the presence of several other black people and POC. It was heartbreaking, but the anger was real. The stares, the humiliation I felt right there reminded me of every other abuse be it small or big, that she was inflicting onto me. And no, I just couldn't take it anymore, and I was at the verge of tears. And my sister-in-law tried to calm her down, and others tried to comfort me. This all happened while my husband was inside fetching the birthday cake. When he comes out, he notices the commotion and hears the words from his mother's mouth and sees the tears in my eyes. It doesn't take him long to tell his mother to get in the car and ask the driver to escort her to her house. She throws a tantrum about how she shouldn't have to leave her own birthday for a random outsider like me. My sister-in-law and a few other women comfort me and try to make me feel better, and my husband forcefully takes my mother-in-law inside the car and tells the driver to drive her off to her place. After that, he comes and takes me to a bit of private place and assures me to make everything right once this party will be over. So we freshen up in the hotel room and join everyone back in the party. We had the sister-in-law cut the cake on our behalf, and we danced and partied for a good amount of time till we signed off and had everyone leave and go back to our respective homes. It's been a long day, and I haven't asked my husband about how he'll be solving this problem like he promised he would, but for today I'm really tired and burnt out. I'll update later because now I need to sleep, but it was good enough for me to have someone kicked out of their own birthday party. So it's been a week, and y'all have been asking for an update. Nothing significant has happened, but the woman with whom my mother-in-law was making match called and apologized, as she didn't know that he was married to me and was told that he was single and all that stuff. But I told her not to feel bad over it. We all know whose fault it actually was. In fact, I apologized to her for my mother-in-law's stupid antics and for her to make her uncomfortable and forcefully bringing her in this narrative. My husband hasn't talked to his mother since, and whenever she calls, tries to avoid it or keep the talk small and cut her in 1 to 2 minutes max. Another 3 weeks have passed, and a month has passed since the whole incident occurred. She's been worried about her son ignoring her and does everything in her power to bring his attention back to her. She's been contacting my sister-in-law about finding out the reason for her son keeping a distance for this long, as she didn't create it herself. She was pissed at me and kept on blaming me for stealing her son away for the first whole week. Then my husband didn't even bother talking to her. For 1 to 2 minutes, just completely cut her off. It felt safer that way for me, but I could notice somewhere he did miss his mother deep down, and I tried to talk things out with him and told him he doesn't have to do all this stuff, but he stood by his decision, explaining how I am his future, and he needs to take care of me, which all really made sense. Second week, mother-in-law tries contacting me, and I put her number in block because I just don't want to talk to her. Our sister-in-law completely supports our decision and makes sure mother-in-law doesn't try to reach us through them. Third week, I think my husband has gotten a little more cheerful about the fact that he's informed his mother that his wife would come first to him, and any harmful approach from anyone would not be tolerated at any cost. I feel secure, even though sometimes I feel like I ruined someone's bond. But God knows I tried. Everything is fine, and if she really needs us, we'll just be there for her. OP, 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 you are the most beautiful person ever. Like, trust me, I would have thrown my hands if someone ever put me in your place, and I don't care about how amazing of a woman she is to the world. She's a shithead to me, and that gives me all the rights to be mad at her, and I will be till the end. The fact that you tried to help so much with something to make her happy, and she acted so ungrateful? Like, seriously, orthodox or not, this lady is plain evil, and you don't owe her shit. She sounds so much like my ex-mother-in-law, and I can tell how big of a mama's boy these Italian boys are. Their mom just hates you for being in their child's life, and for what? She was the main reason for my divorce, but you are lucky enough to have your husband take a stand for you. Mine never did that for me. I hope everything gets fine and better eventually, and girl, start taking stand for yourself too. Call that Catholic hag out and tell her to her face that she doesn't matter as much as she thinks in her son's life.
Next story.
So I'm a 24-year-old man, and I'm set to graduate from university in June with an engineering degree. I just need my grades to show passes, but in January my fiancée, Eve, died. I'd known her since I was 5 years old. We were best friends and had been dating since we were 13. She practically lived at our house half the time. My mom had me when she was 18 and married my dad because of it, but in August she left him after coming out of the closet. That and Eve's death changed Dad a lot, and he's always with some new girl and sometimes they're my age. It was my birthday last month, and I drove home to celebrate with him, but he bailed on me to be with some girl. I just felt so alone. I drove hours back to my apartment that same night. It's like home isn't my home anymore. My dad's gone all the time. Eve is dead, and my mom is gone. I don't even have a job lined up, and my university's shitty mental health services aren't a help to me. But this last Friday, my mom came to my apartment with her girlfriend. No warning, no nothing. They told me mom needed to get away because my grandparents are being jerks about her sexuality, and her work has super stressed her out. Honestly, it was the best thing ever, but she'd be leaving Monday morning. On Sunday, her girlfriend went to sleep early and we stayed up watching TV. There was this old movie on Prime, and it's something I watched as a kid before our VHS copy broke. I didn't know it made me sad, and I told her everything about how I felt and how crappy and alone I felt and how much I wanted my fiancé back and how it feels like I've lost Dad too. I knew I was unloading on her, so I told her how much I missed her, and because I felt like crying, I started crying, and I couldn't stop no matter how much I tried, like I just kept crying. She put my head in her lap, held me, and let me keep crying and crying until I ended up falling asleep. When I woke up, Mom promised me everything would be all right and made me promise to call her every night. Before they left, her girlfriend pulled me aside and reminded me how stressed Mom's been and learned how I was only making things worse for her, and she was only putting on a brave face for me. She was like, to put it mildly, you were being an a-hole by burdening her even further. I honestly think she's right, because if Mom's this stressed, then I probably hurt her. And I guess it's selfish for somebody who's grown to worry about his mom, especially when she saw me to de-stress. My friend told me I wasn't and said to post on here. Hey, I'm a mom, and if I had a partner who told my kids, 20 and 13, that they did anything bad for doing that, I would break up with that partner and they would never be back in my life in any capacity. NTA, you did great talking to your mom, and her actions at the time show that she wanted to comfort you, and she can only do that if you tell her what you're struggling with. I'm so sorry for your loss, and that your dad is being awful. I wish you lots of good things, but not a good mom, 'cause you already have one. NTA, your mom's GF is a monster. You're the son, the baby, she's the girlfriend. She should be helping your mom through the stress, not forcing you to bottle it up. Look for help. Not a lot out there is free, but just look. Call local hospitals to see if they have any mental health assistance. If you are on your own health insurance, try Medicaid, as they can assist some. If this is really big, then when looking for work, ask them about health insurance costs and coverage. Don't say anything specific, but just say your mom told you to check on that because she's a warrior and you just want to know what type they have. Good luck, man. Hopefully things will get better.
Next story.
So, since November, I've been living with this girl, and I hate it so much. She is so annoying and messy. She never cleans up after herself and lets trash accumulate in her room. That's her own personal space, so I don't really care, but our open areas like the living room, kitchen, and bathroom that we share is constantly messy, and I hate it. I always ask her to clean, and she promises to, and then she goes to work and goes straight into her room and doesn't come out until I leave for the day. And she only does that when I ask her to clean. I'm not the type of person that can live in filth, so I clean after she refuses to. It's caused a lot of resentment. A few months ago, we had a screaming match when I asked her to clean the kitchen after she trashed it, looking for stuff, and she told me she's going to clean when she feels like it and to stop harassing her, and she has ADHD and all these other accommodations I should adhere to. After that, we don't speak at all. A few days ago, when she was at work, a woman knocked on our door. I opened it, and she looked a lot like my roommate, and she introduced herself as her mom, so I let her in. She was pretty nice and was asking me a lot of questions about myself. Then she asked me if I liked living with her daughter. I was honest and said no and told her my reasons, and she was shocked and apologized. She told me that she's been paying her daughter's rent, and their agreement was that she would stay home on work nights and only go out on the weekends, and that's it. She asked me if her daughter followed that, and I laughed and said no, and that she goes out frequently and skips work a lot. Her mom was very shocked and soon left. A few days later, my roommate storms into my room screaming, saying her mom told her that I said she's filthy and hard to live with, and that she skips work and goes out on work days and not just the weekends, so her mom is no longer going to pay her rent, and that it's my fault and I'm a bitch and a-hole. I told my friend about it and she told me I should just have lied for her and that I was being petty and now she's going to have to live paycheck to paycheck. AITA? It's super weird you'd let this random woman in and tattle on your roommate, TBH. You could have been honest and said we actually are quite different, and when she asked about her schedule, you could have quite simply said you're not her keeper. ESH? What if her mom had been some narcissistic person she went NC with? The whole situation, a stranger showing up announcing herself as your roommate's mother, praying for information, I don't know if the whole thing gives me the creeps. ADHD is not an excuse for being a slob. Saying things like that contributes to a culture where people do not want to make any accommodations for people with disabilities because others have used them as an excuse to act however they want. It makes it so hard for people to get the support they need because they're battling with these inaccurate stereotypes.